The waiting part.
I know. Hello, everyone. I'm going to give everyone a second to join. I know that it takes a minute to join and then an ad runs. And so we're going to wait a second. Let me repost this real quick on my main Instagram. Let everybody know we're live.
Yeah.
Before you introduce yourself, I want to make sure everybody's here.
Yes.
All right. Well, let me make sure it's running on my main. It is. Yay. Okay.
Yay.
Well, welcome to my book club live. I have Nakia from Nakia's Hideaway here. I'm so happy that you're here as a co-host. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
If you want to introduce yourself and just talk a little bit about yourself. You know the drill.
No, I don't. Yes, I'm Nakia from Nakia's Hideaway. I mainly read. I do read a good number of mystery thrillers, but not as much as Sav. I also read fantasy, sci-fi, some horror, middle grade, and historical fiction that's mixed with thriller, horror, that kind of thing. And I do the usual wrap-ups, TBRs, those kind of things, some lists, videos, the usual booktube stuff.
Yes. Also, I just want to say I love Nakia's voice. I feel like you could be an audiobook narrator. Have you ever thought about that? I don't know.
I actually did, because I don't know if you know, I was an actress.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I could transfer that to audiobook narration, but number one, I don't know that I could read a book for like voicing it for 8 hours. Also, it is a lot that goes into it competition wise.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll just stick to making videos.
Yes, that's great though. Your content is amazing on YouTube, and I love listening to your videos and your thoughts. Your thoughts are always so cohesive and organized. I love it. So everyone make sure to subscribe.
Oh, thank you.
Hello, Kim. How are you? I love how I didn't read the book. What is reading?
Oh, no.
I was in a massive slump all of last month. I barely read a thing. So I understand. It's that time of year. It's just, and now I'm racing towards my goal because I'm
right.
Have you reached your Goodreads goal yet?
I set my goal really low, so I've passed it. But I mean, I set it low, like 25 books.
Yeah, well, I mean, I should have done that, honestly. I really feel like I should have, but I'm trying. I feel like I'll read a lot of manga at this point.
Yes, novellas, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Hello.
Yes, hey.
I'm in a massive slump.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Is there a short book you can pick up or an
Exactly.
Yeah, I have been looking for all the novellas, the short books, and actually it's kind of nice. You get to like stuff you may not have picked up before. I'm just less inclined to do that earlier. Like I do sometimes, but now I'm like, give me all the short story collections, everything.
Yes, you get to feel accomplished.
Yes.
Hey, Halko.
Hi.
Hey.
Yeah, you can't force it. That's very true. Sometimes it's the best thing though to kind of wait it out and
take a break.
This is the first time this year I read the book and made it to the live show.
Wow. All right. I'm with you.
It's really hard. You know, it feels like a deadline when you're reading a book for a live, even if it's not your own. And there's something that happens when, at least for me, when I have like a deadline, my brain's like, oh, I'll put it off. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, wait, I need to read this right now.
Yes. I kept being like, I gotta read my book.
I know. Let me know in the comments how you read the book, if you read the book. If not, we will be talking non-spoilers first. So I'm actually going to just put this up here too, so everybody knows. But yeah, let me know how you read it. How did you read the book? Physically or audiobook or both?
I read it physically. I don't remember if I checked out a sample of the audiobook, because usually I will. And if I don't like the audiobook narrator, I'll be like, forget it. I'll just read it physically. But yeah, I read it physically.
Nice. Did you feel like that was the way to go with this, or did you kind of want an audiobook?
I felt fine with it, read it physically. I don't feel like I missed anything, but
yeah, I feel like I read it on audiobook because it was on a ton of different like reading services. It was on Scribd. It was with my library and stuff. And the audiobook narrator was fine, but I don't think they really added that much to it. So I feel like I would have been fine reading it physically.
Okay.
So I don't think people like really missed out. Also, hi Ashley, I know you read it.
Ashley.
Physically, gotcha. I listened to the audio. I really wanted to listen and follow along, but I couldn't make myself buy the book because it was free on my services, and it's just hard to do that.
I don't blame you. I couldn't. I had to pay for it. I don't blame you though.
What did you think, Ashley, of the audio? I'm very curious to see. Read the audiobook? Yeah. Read physically. Nice. So we kind of have a mix here. So if anybody hasn't read it, I'll kind of give you a quick synopsis. It's about 3 couples. They go on this getaway to this really, luxurious, expensive cabin, basically in the woods. And I feel like almost everybody I talked to thought it would be like a snowy setting because there's a storm. Yes. But it's not a snowstorm. It's a rainstorm or a thunderstorm.
In Florida.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a severe storm, but it's just different than the vibe I thought it was going to be. But it's a locked room thriller. And basically they get trapped together. And it seems like someone, wants to ruin their weekend. And that's all I really knew going into it. And I feel like the synopsis is pretty vague, which I really like. I really don't like when synopses give away stuff. It's like my biggest pet peeve. Yeah. Let me see. I read it physically. Thought the audio was fine. Yes. Yeah, I understand that. The audio just didn't really stand out. But anyway, you're also following another timeline of this person growing up. So you start in his childhood and then it kind of goes up to the present. So there's multiple POVs, but there's also multiple timelines. Yes. So that's what it's about. And there's quite a few names. I had to write the names down because I was kind of getting them a little bit confused and who was related to who and whatnot. But there's a core of 3 main couples. And I would say the main character, her brother, invites everybody to this trip. He's this really accomplished like businessman. So do you think I missed anything or is that?
No, that was everything.
Yeah. And did you assume it was snowy too?
No, I assumed they were some of them were friends, not all couples. I don't know how I missed that. I started reading. I was like, wait, this is just 6 couples? I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I had to adjust my mind to be ready for that, especially for some of the scenes we got.
That would be very interesting. Yeah.
I was expecting all that.
Right. Yeah, for some reason, so it starts out, I don't really think this is a spoiler because it's like the very beginning. It starts out with this family gathering and something happens there. And I was a little bit worried that it would be like the whole family going, but it ends up, the mom and the dad aren't really main characters in it, which I was happy about. Yes. At first I was like, is this going to be just like Daisy Darker again? Like I was confused. I don't know.
Yes. Well, I would say if that was what we were getting, I would have struggled through this book.
I DNF'd Daisy Darker.
Okay. You did. I was bored with the prologue. I was like,
I know.
Where's the trip?
Literally. I think it's the time of year we're in. Yes.
Yeah.
It looks like a Christmas book at first glance. I expected December, but it's yellow and blue. Could be anytime. Yeah. And if you look closer, it's rain.
Yes.
Still. But still.
But also the prologue took place during Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. Do you think it would have added to it if it was more snowy?
Yes.
I agree. I agree. I never know when to share ratings, but I feel like, I don't know. I feel like sharing my rating now. I have this feeling of So I'm going to share my rating. So I finished it today, and that's tough because usually I have to think a little bit, but I'm thinking it's going to be a 3-star, and that's not horrible for me. So a 3-star is like pretty middle of the road. I just wanted something like, I was personally spoiled with the guest list in the way that was just my favorite, like isolated setting situation. I was so emotionally invested in all the characters. And for this book, I just didn't feel that attachment to any of them. Like I was not rooting for any of them, really.
Nope.
I mean, some were worse than others, but like
Yes.
main character Hannah, I just did not care about. And I was like,
Nope.
why am I not attached to this person? Like, am I supposed to be? So
I have a theory.
Oh, really?
I'll wait.
So I think I'm settling on a 3-star just because it wasn't horrible. Like, I wanted to know what was going to happen, so I didn't want to DNF it. But that's my feeling. And people in the comments should share what you rated it. I'm very curious to hear what you rated it.
You want to know now?
I want to know now. Yeah, I shared. I gotta know.
For me, it was 1.5 stars. And I mean, I'll probably round it down to 1.
Oh my god.
I did not enjoy it.
Oh my gosh. I can't wait to like hear all of your critiques of it. I'm so
if we weren't doing, I would have DNF'd it.
I know.
At the prologue, first of all, but I was like, nope, I have to read this.
I know, because you're the queen of DNFing, which I love.
Yeah, I don't have time. I don't have patience.
Yeah. Okay, we have a 2-star. All right.
That's about where I am.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. 3 stars, 4 stars, okay. 4 stars. Okay, yeah. So I feel like
love it.
Look.
And Ashley already knew where she's at because she just did her ranking, her tier ranking of all the thrillers.
Ashley, did you love it? Like a 5-star love? I have not been able to read. Sorry, what am I saying? I've not been able to watch like any videos recently.
It is difficult. Yeah.
It's been especially rough for me. I'm so behind. But okay, so 3 stars. All right. So kind of middle of the road. No one has 5 stars, but 4 and under, kind of. Okay. Interesting. So let me see. That was my first question. Like, was this what you were expecting, basically? Okay. And we kind of touched on this too. Was it atmospheric or atmospheric enough?
No.
I felt like the only time we got the atmosphere was when we first were introduced to the cabin.
Yes.
Kind of like, ooh, like, you know, I want more of this. This is a cool setting when you're getting the house and everything. And it's like, it's surrounded in woods and like all of that stuff. I really did like that part.
Yes.
But I felt like it was never touched upon again. And then I also feel like everything, I felt like there were so many scenes in the past that I didn't care about. Like I cared more about the present. Like I wanted to know what was going to happen in the present. I feel like, right?
Yes.
I felt like there was so much less present material, and that was where the tension was for me. Like I didn't feel tension in the past. I would love to know what you thought about that.
I completely agree. I was so sick of the flashbacks and these other people that I was like, can we get back to the cabin? And like you said, I realized when I finished it, I was like, there was barely any atmosphere. Like you said, we got a little bit in the beginning when they first got there, and I enjoyed that. All the descriptions of the cabin and how nice it was. But then, like you said, later, even when the storm came, we got a little bit of that. But then it also was thrown in weird places. Like, you know, they'd be talking and they'd be like, and then then the thunder crackled. And it was like, okay. And then when the power went out, I was like, oh, but then she didn't even really go into that, like it being dark and people couldn't see. Yeah. Did we have to light candles? I got none of that.
I know there were no candles. That was really disappointing.
We were just wandering around in the dark.
Yeah. Another thing that I realized, we'll probably have to wait for spoilers for some of this stuff. Actually, a lot of this stuff. There was something with the landlord that I wanted more of. It was like mentioned once. And I was like, okay, let's lean into that, you know? All right. Hi, Lexi. How are you? 3.5/4.
All right.
That's good. I was super into one of the stories. Yes, I agree. No atmosphere at all. Super fast paced, and I wanted to know what was going on, but it wasn't great, and I still don't really know how I feel about the reveal. Yeah. I understand that. I feel like it was kind of mismarketed. The main story wasn't really the cabin part. Yes.
Yeah,
I felt like it was like a third of the book, maybe.
Or not enough.
Yeah, not enough. There was no, sorry. Goodness, I totally.
It's all right.
There was so much potential with the setting. Yes. I think that's my biggest thing with marketing with books is that if something's going to be marketed as an isolated setting, it better be the isolated setting as the main thing.
Yes.
Because that's like my favorite thing.
I know. I was looking forward to that. Like, cozy up. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Before we go into spoilers, I would like to know if so I know you didn't enjoy this book, but what does this remind you of? Like, if somebody liked the isolated elements in this book, what are some books that you would recommend?
Oh, God.
Or maybe another book you don't like.
Oh, well, another one I don't like that it reminded me of is Rock, Paper, Scissors.
Yes, actually, you're right. You're totally right with Alice Feeney. Yes.
Yeah, but a book I enjoyed more than this that had the isolated setting and the actual whodunit was Unwanted Guests. And that one was like, I read that early on when I started getting back into reading, and I really enjoyed that. Maybe I need to reread it, but.
Is that by Sherry Lapina?
Yes, I think so. I think that's the only one I've read by her, but yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, to me, No Exit, because this tried to do like the more gritty, action type. I feel like it tried.
Maybe I desensitized.
Because I mean, with the guns and knives and the cursing, everything, I just felt like it was trying to be more gritty, but it didn't really get I didn't connect to anybody like you were saying. So I feel like No Exit did a better job with that. With isolated, you actually feel like somebody's in danger. What is going on here? I'm on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I feel bad. I always feel so bad, like, if I don't enjoy a book as much as I would love, like, because, the authors work so hard, but you have to be honest. So.
I know. Sorry.
No, it's not your. I love that you're honest. I read this already. What am I saying?
It's okay.
Oh, I am struggling. They were trapped. There was a tree in the road.
Yes, this one lane road. Or this ginormous tree.
Yeah. Also, I found it kind of weird. That could have been a really intense scene. Like, from the POV of the person where the tree like fell on them.
Yeah, we had to just take their word for it.
That was like a total missed opportunity, I felt like.
Yeah.
One by One by Ruth Ware is fairly similar. Yeah, I would say this for isolated settings, for books that I really love with isolated settings, I would say The Guest List. I just felt like that was just done really well. It actually very much played into the isolated setting. Shiver by Ali Reynolds was sort of reminded me of this because there was a lot of flashbacks. I didn't personally love it.
Okay, I was like, I DNF'd it.
Yeah, no, I didn't love it, but I will say I liked it more in the way that like the stakes felt a lot higher when they were up on the snowy mountain, and if you like the kind of drama between like everybody, Shiver had a lot of that. So
it did.
And you're like, it was too much for me.
Yes, it was.
I think we were meant to question if he was telling the truth. I think you're right, but then we never. Yeah, I guess we should probably get into spoilers.
I know, we're itching to.
Any last thoughts, like, before we switch to spilling everything?
I'm trying to think. I think, like you said, if you like drama, and
unlikable characters.
Yes, unlikable characters. And if you're not looking for a big twist, this is for you. And you don't necessarily need atmosphere.
So basically a domestic thriller.
Which is not my favorite thing.
Right. It felt very much like a domestic thriller. So if people are into that, there are some domestic thrillers that I really do like. But that, I think, is my least favorite subgenre in thriller.
Yes.
Legal, I guess, would probably be my one that I read the least in. But
yeah.
I feel like I can't remember the last time I read a domestic thriller, just a straight like domestic thriller. And maybe I'm thinking, maybe I'm forgetting, but all right, let's get into spoilers. So if you want to exit now before we talk about if you want it spoiled, that is fine as well. Just use your own discretion, basically. Okay, so where should we start? There's so many things. Okay, so What did you think about the whole DNA kit in the beginning? Were you suspicious of someone in particular?
I mean, it's funny. I was suspicious of the brother from the beginning because he was the one that organized it. So this is one of my problems with this book. I just felt like she made too many things obvious from the beginning. Like we were told he organized the trip. So I was already like, clearly he knows something about. Plus, when they got the boxes, they were like, who did this? And everybody's like, oh, I don't know, la la. And I'm like, one of you did it. And clearly one of you has an issue with what you found out. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm thinking, put two and two together. He organized a trip and something's going to happen on this trip. So clearly he knows something. Yeah. So that was my suspicion from the beginning, was him.
Me too. I felt like I liked what you said, where you said there wasn't really a twist, because it's obvious the whole time that the brother is bad, like from the very beginning, which surprised me because it was so obvious. I don't know. Usually I feel like the most obvious person in thrillers ends up not being, like they do that on purpose. They throw you off. But this time it was like, okay, like, yep. I kind of wanted it to be Hannah's husband, Bruce. Like,
me too. Me too.
I was like, make me feel something.
Like, I know, because he was the most, the one you wouldn't suspect.
Right.
And actually, when Henry showed up at their house, when the mom was there with the child, and she said, "This is my my son and daughter-in-law's house," I was like, "Oh, because it's Bruce."
Yeah. No, I know. And the whole time I was thinking it was Bruce. Not like I knew. What is his name? I keep forgetting.
Mako.
Hold on. Let me look at my sheet.
Yes.
Mako. Okay.
Mako.
I knew Mako was horrible and like was involved in a lot, obviously. Yes. It was very obvious. But I thought, like you said, that she did try to trick you to think that Henry was showing up at Bruce's house.
Yes.
Well, I mean, that's what happened, but because of Bruce.
Right. Yes.
Right. Instead of like the property.
Yeah, he said, I'm here looking for Michael, but then she said, well, this is my son and my son and daughter-in-law. So that's when I was like, oh, he thinks it's, he knows it's Michael's house, but it's because it's Bruce who's the one.
Right.
But then womp womp, no.
Right. Yeah, it was very anticlimactic, and also like the secret that Bruce had been keeping was just to kind of, like set up or like
he was working with the FBI.
Yeah, like turn him into the FBI. I thought that was really underwhelming. Yeah, because I was like, okay, yeah, I don't know, like
I felt the same way. I was like, that's it.
Okay. I wanted something more. Like he was involved in something, even if he like felt bad, like he was turning himself in or something, something like that. Not just like, oh, I'm turning in my brother-in-law. That's it. Yeah. Also, I just felt like we didn't know any of the characters. It felt like a lot of descriptors. Like, for example, Mako's wife.
Yes.
It just kept like, we learned that she was a Pilates instructor or yoga
and vegan
like 70 times. And I was
know.
Is that her one personality trait? Like, I don't know. Yep. I just thought that was like so repetitive. I didn't really know anything else.
Everybody had their thing. She was the vegan yoga instructor, which is so cliche.
Right.
Mako was the millionaire jerk. His sister was the tired mom. Her husband was the workaholic husband.
Yeah.
Cricket was the whore.
I know. That was so extra to me. I was like, really?
Her man was just the one who Joshua, his name, I didn't understand his name.
Yeah, Joshua.
Like, he's the one. I was like, what is your point? But like you said, I got to know no one. And we were supposed to care the most about Hannah. And later Henry, and I did not care enough about either one of them. Henry a little bit more than her, but barely.
Yeah. Me too. Well, you said you had a theory on Hannah, or I'm really curious.
You said why you didn't have a connection. I think you said to Henry. I'm not sure. Whoever you said, I just feel like it just was not written well enough. That's my thing.
Yes, yeah.
She just did not give us enough about anybody. Like I said, Henry, we got a little bit more, but we were still thrown in with him. It was like all of a sudden we got a chapter from his POV and was like, why are we with this guy? And why are we finding out about his childhood? Him with this girl he has a crush on at school. Like, why am I supposed to care?
I know. So the flashback, the whole time I was like, who are these two people?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, who in the present are they? Yes. So at first I was like, is this Hannah and like her brother and some weird, like her brother was adopted, but then how did they get him to forget he was adopted? Like I was confused. I first thought that. And then I was like, oh, is this Joshua and Hannah? Is it because they kind of recognized each other? Hannah kind of recognized.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, like, are they? But then as it went on, I was like, oh, these are just like people who aren't even related at all. I thought that was kind of the only time I did get kind of interested in Henry's story was more when he was meeting up with all his like half siblings.
Yeah, I agree.
Met Trina, and she was like basically killing everyone.
Yes, I like that. I mean,
I know. I felt like this book was trying to do too much. Like if it would have focused on just that and then just what happened in the present, it may have been better. But it was like too many things. I don't know.
That's got a lot of separate books thrown together.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of times thrillers try to do that to sort of distract people from solving the mystery, and it would make more sense. But the mystery just was obvious in this one. So I don't know. I'm curious, Lexi, if you're still here, tell me what part you were more interested in. Yeah, you said you're super interested in one of the stories. Was it that one by chance? I'm curious to hear. Thank you, Kim. I know we're on mute now, but
okay, that's funny.
One of the worst parts to me was them claiming Mako left the origins test. It could have been Trina. She could have gotten the code. Wasn't it Trina in the end? Was that what was kind of... It was a little confusing.
They said it was Mako who left
it. It was? Okay. That part got a little convoluted.
I feel like the whole prologue could have been taken out.
That was weird.
Like it was not needed. It was long and it had really nothing to do besides to tell us that they got these kits for Christmas and they don't know where they came from. Other than that, we didn't need it.
Right. Another thing I found odd was we never got any scenes at the tech company.
Yeah.
Or Mako worked. Like there was no scenes of, because it is a really interesting concept of finding out, like, you know, Trina goes to work for him. Like I wanted scenes there and there were no scenes there. So I thought that was kind of a missed opportunity because that would have been interesting. Like how did she interact with him? How did she like try to act normal and not weird?
Not like a murderer.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So at the end, we find out that Joshua, Mako, Hannah, and Henry are related. And also Trina.
Yes, because Hannah, I don't think she was related to
them. She's not related to... So she's
only related to Mako, right? Or are they not even related?
Actually, you're right. They're not even related at all.
Yeah, they're not related. She wasn't related to anybody by blood.
She was related. They had two different sperm donors. So she is a half-sister... But
they have the same mom.
Biologically. Yes.
Didn't they have the same mom?
They did. So I guess they are related.
They have siblings, but she wasn't related to the rest of them.
Right.
Mako was related to Henry, Trina, and Joshua.
Yes. I know. I'm like,
too much. There should have been a family or a list of characters at the beginning of the book, not a tree, because I would have told you things, but a list of characters.
Yes.
Or we could have got connections with the couples. Who's related to who knows who? Because then it was the whole Mako and Cricket were sleeping together while he was with Lisa. So confusing.
I was like, why can't they make at least a couple people likable? I don't know.
Oh, I could. Cricket, I was just like, I can't deal. Am I supposed to feel any sympathy for you?
I didn't.
No, you're sleeping with a married man and he treats you like crap. I wasn't sure if he tried to rape her or he did rape her and you're still sleeping with him.
Yeah, that part was confusing. And also the flashback too. I think her name was Pippin, the high school girl.
Yes.
And she ended her life, but I thought it could have been like she was coming back for revenge too.
I thought she was Trina until they said she committed suicide, and I was like, okay, then who's this woman? That would have made, I mean, it would have been like, oh, I knew it, but it would have been a little bit more exciting to know, like, she waited all this time to get her revenge.
That's my thing. Like, I really enjoy thrillers where the stakes feel very high and it's very emotional. Like, I don't mind drama. I love drama in thrillers if the drama makes sense.
Yes.
But I just felt like there was a lot of drama here and the stakes were not very high. Like, it wasn't quite, what it could be. And then Hannah was just defending her brother all that time. So it makes you really hate her because you're like, that's horrible of you. Like, yeah, he's your brother, but you literally witnessed this crime he committed.
Yes. Because I was like,
him.
Well, maybe he really didn't rape the girl. But then we found in the end he did. I'm like, wow. I mean, I have a brother. Ain't no way I'm going to just defend him no matter what.
Yeah, I didn't think that was realistic, actually. I don't think most women would do that. I feel like maybe a mother was in denial, but it was a sister. And he was already kind of a jerk to her.
Right.
I love Ashley. She's like, I've forgotten so much.
I know. Ashley said that in her video that she forgot about it. I'm like, I probably will too in 3 weeks.
Yes.
I hope I do.
You're like, I need more space in my brain for other mysteries.
Yes. God.
Lexi says she was really into the DNA stuff. Yes. I get that. DNA, if it was more central to the story. I mean, it was central to the story, but not at the same time. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like that's actually what I didn't like.
Really? You didn't even
I just did not care about who was related to who because, again, I think the problem stemmed from I didn't care about any of these characters.
Right.
So I was like, okay, you're all siblings. I don't care. I thought it was interesting that the father, the sperm donor, was a serial killer, and it's his DNA that made them bad.
I liked that part too.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting, and it gives you something to think about. But as far as like that was a major point or part of the story, because even the way she ended it, it was about my chosen family versus blood. Right. I feel like that was mainly what I think she got an idea from knowing about these DNA kits that exist now, the 23andMe and all these other ones. Right. She thought about, what if you had all these siblings out there and, you had a sperm. I don't know, but
it's an idea. It's a good idea. I think it was just the execution.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe I need to know about one that does it better because this one didn't do it for me.
I think there is actually one. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a short book that's on Kindle Unlimited. Maybe, I don't know. It had something to do with DNA, finding out that they're related to a serial killer. I'll have to look at it. I can't remember what it is, but
no.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
I think it threw people off because in a closed circle mystery, we expect it to be someone in the house. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was mismarketed. They shouldn't have put that in the synopsis.
Yes, I agree. Those are the consequences when we turn the other cheek. When we cover for people we love, when we're put in those situations, we don't always do the right thing like we should. No, don't apologize. I like your thoughts. That's a very good point.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have these, so we can all chat about it.
Yes.
Yeah, I read this before. Ashley's like, wow, I've forgotten everything. As soon as we got the discovery of how Hannah covered up her brother's crime, I was like, I hope she does get killed. Yeah.
Look, I could have cared less if anybody died in this book. The only one, I'd say the baby. Leave the baby alone.
Right.
But other than that, I didn't care about anybody dying. Hannah, Cricket, none of them. Lisa, I guess I was kind of like, because she seemed innocent, like she just happened to, but then she cheated. Yeah, so
and yeah, I wanted more people to die.
I mean,
I wanted people to start dropping,
Yeah. Like I thought we were getting a murder, and who did it?
I know.
That's not what we got.
Marketing. We need to talk to these marketers for a lot of books, actually.
Yes.
More recent books that come out. The marketing's off.
Mm-hmm.
You keep saying things, and I'm like, who?
I don't blame you, Ashley.
The only reason I know is because I wrote everyone's name down, and I was still struggling before the live. Like, wait, who is this?
Yes.
Like trying to like match everybody together. Can we
Uh-huh.
talk about the mom's reaction to finding out her daughter was possibly raped and she was just fine with it? Yeah. Wait,
Mm-hmm.
the mom, wait, hold on.
At the very end, when
Oh,
they finally
oh,
tell her, Hannah tells her, I'm sorry, we lied to you. We dropped her off
oh,
all
yeah,
those
yeah,
years ago.
yeah. Yeah, that was, yeah, that was.
It was just glossed over. It's just like, all right, bye.
I was
Okay.
really surprised also, like, how when they originally dropped the girl off, I know the mom, like, wanted to tend to her daughter, but
Yeah.
I'm thinking of, like, my own mom, like, she would, like, chase after these people.
I
Like,
am a mom, and you ain't nobody leaving here till you tell me what happened to my child.
right, like, that seemed off too. I was like, "These stakes are, like, very high. Why aren't
Also, I mean, as a mom, you know who your child's hanging out with. So either she knew these girls and somebody needs to start talking because I trusted you with my child, or I don't know you. Who are you? What are you
Right.
doing with my child? Like, even also, I didn't understand how she was hollering rape at the party in the car, but then when she gets home to her mother, now all of a sudden she doesn't say it. Which I was
Yeah,
just waiting on her to say it to her mother, and she didn't. I was just like, now you don't say it. I know
yeah.
she grew up, but still.
I don't know if she was, like, in shock or something or what happened, or she was, like, getting more drunk. I don't know.
Yeah, at
Yes.
that point she was sick, so I get it, but I just couldn't believe because I know from a child's perspective and having a child. Usually, when you see your mother,
You break.
that's when you're like, mom. So I
Yeah,
just thought
yeah,
that would be the first thing out of her mouth.
right. Look,
But
that all seemed a little unrealistic. I mean, let's be honest. Most books are unrealistic, but
yes,
they
especially
have to have
thrillers.
some more realism in them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I feel like I don't need to care about, yeah. See,
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah,
people are okay with that, and a lot of times I am too. But for some
yes,
reason in this one, I just was like, it wasn't fun to root for anybody, I guess. I don't
yeah. Yeah, because I agree. I don't have to like everybody, but I at least want to like one person or two.
know. Right.
And again,
Or
I
like
felt like
love to hate them.
yeah, I feel like in this one she wanted us to like Hannah and Henry, and I didn't like them enough for what she wanted. Is what I feel like.
Right. Yeah. All that wrapped up too nicely, just like Lisa staying with Mako. Yeah, after cheating, maybe, but after luring young children online, yes. That was surprising that she stayed with him. Because yes, they have a child together, but
He is disgusting.
yeah.
Like you killing cats.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And then your business is luring, getting children to submit naked pictures. Like he is just the worst of the worst. And I didn't understand. Like
Yeah,
I was
I
so bothered.
agree. I agree.
I felt like also she just put some stuff in there for shock value because it wasn't needed. Like why did we need to know he killed the cat?
Yeah, I also felt like it didn't fit the tone of the book.
Mm-mm.
Like the tone of it was very much like a drama book, but
Yes.
then there was like, oh, and this like horrific thing. But it
Yes.
didn't fit the tone. So
Mm-mm.
I guess it just didn't affect me in a way that like a really gritty feeling book would affect me. Like
Exactly.
it just didn't feel like realistic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was weird, like the cat thing, and then also Hannah sticking by him after the cat.
Right, right. And didn't tell her mom.
That's wild. I don't
Also,
think,
if this is the whole thing, we all know they always say when you start hurting animals, that's on the way to a psychopath. You didn't
right,
think to tell your mother. He could do something to you, your
right.
mom, your dad. You didn't think to tell your mom. I'm concerned. You killed our cat. Something ain't right with this boy.
Literally. And that was so odd. I don't know. That was very weird. I like the father and the half sibling stuff, but also it was kind of random. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 3 books in one.
Yes, yes.
The baby. The baby was perfect. We
yes.
I loved Henry. I would have given the book 2 stars if Henry ended up being Josh.
Ah.
See, that's what I thought for the longest
Mm-hmm.
time. I thought they were the same person.
Yeah,
And
I thought somebody was going to end up being somebody else
right,
because of
because I
all
like
these.
when that happens.
Yeah, also she kept being vague with the timelines and the flashbacks and Bracken breaking he was the character I didn't get why we needed him at all.
Yes, we have to talk about him. So he owned everything, right?
Yes.
He owned the property. So when I heard that there was like cameras in the showers, cameras like everywhere, I thought that was a really interesting plot, and I wanted more of that. And I know that there was a storm and it like stopped him from being able to like watch all the cameras.
Yes. But what was the point?
Yeah, like I wanted more of that. It reminded me of I think it's called The Rental or something on Netflix. And I liked that concept and I wanted more of it. I was like, oh, that's a cool concept. Like, not cool as in,
yeah.
You know, it's fun to read about.
It makes you think about it because we live in a day and age where cameras are everywhere. So it makes you think you never know who's watching when you go somewhere. But his chapters just made me feel,
yeah.
And I thought he was going to end up being the sperm donor, but once again, we found out the sperm donor died. So I was like,
that would have been so good. I didn't even think about that.
That's what I thought. He's a creep. And then also later when we started finding out the sperm donor was a rapist and stuff, and I was like, oh, then it's definitely got to be this dude. Right.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think of that, but that would have been good. I think I would have liked it a lot more. And then you could have gotten like the POVs of like him hiding bodies or like I don't know, that on the property. Like, I don't know.
Also, now I understand why we got those chapters of you looking at people and watching them. But then when you find out nothing, he showed up at the end and he's like, oh, the FBI's here. Oh, let me go hide my cameras. And that was it for him.
Also, the weirdest thing to me too was the cleaning lady that he had kind of like a relationship with.
Yes.
She knew about the camera.
Yeah, and then she's like, come be with me and my daughter. If it was just her, that's one thing. But now you're inviting him in your house with your child. What's wrong with you?
And also, like, she knows about cameras.
Yes.
Like, no one is cool with that. No one's okay with that. No. And she was like, be with me. I understand it's because you're lonely and you want a family. It's like, okay, people can be lonely and want a family and not be like a criminal.
What is a creep?
Yeah. Oh. Wow. Not saying it's okay to cheat, by the way, but I could see a character staying with a cheater. Yeah. Yeah. After the like FBI crimes.
Yeah.
No. And you would want your partner to have a child when they've been exploiting children.
Yeah, no.
Like access to your child, like that's just
well, there's that. And also now you know the DNA is tainted because you don't know. I think that was also what she was trying to leave us with. It. We don't know what this child will end up like. Right. Be a serial killer or rapist or whatever. We don't know.
Right.
We got this baby cooking.
I agree. She did want us to like Hannah, and that wasn't accomplished.
Nope.
No. Yeah. Shock value for sure. Their cameras in the shower, but never mentioned again. Yeah. Bracken felt so random. It was interesting, but it didn't impact the story. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree.
Yeah, like why was he watching Lisa? You know, he seemed so into her. He wanted to be with her. But then once she got taken out in the beginnings, once again, what was the point of that?
I know. I was surprised. I was thinking that one of the men was going to die first. Like, Bruce maybe, or I don't know. I didn't think Lisa.
No. But Lisa didn't die. Remember? She survived. Nobody died.
Well, that is true. Yeah.
Trina. Oh. Trina died, and we get a chapter from her.
Oh my gosh.
What was that?
We have to talk about that. How she was like dead, but she's looking
watching over everybody. Oh my God. And then I thought, we're getting this because she's going to give us some insight into something we didn't know. We got nothing else. So
also I was confused, very confused by this, because if I was reading it right, she was saying, oh, I see my father. I love my father.
Yes.
He's welcoming me. And I was like, didn't you just murder everyone because of your father? Because he's
yes. Also, are you in heaven? If so, how was what you and your dad did?
Also confusing too, because was she referring to the ghosts on the property because they were never talked about?
That was another thing. Who was this man that killed his family and himself? God.
We're confused.
The more we talk about, oh God.
This book felt like the author has a lot of internalized misogyny.
That too. I got so annoyed with her saying men this, men that.
Yeah.
I highlighted stuff that she kept saying about what men do and men can't be trusted, and men. I was just like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, there was a lot in this book that, and I think I listened to it pretty fast, so I didn't get to like highlight anything, but I will say there were some sections I definitely sped up the narration.
I bet, because I skimmed through some stuff.
Yeah, because it was like, I don't really care about this part.
No.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like my rating's going down.
It sounds like it. I was thinking that. I was like, this don't sound like a 3-star.
I feel like it's a 2-star for me. I'm not going to lie. I don't know. It's just so hard for me to like decide immediately what I'm going to rate the book. I really have to think about it. I usually think about it for like a day or two.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes a week for me. I'll go to, because I don't review it right away on Goodreads because I want people to watch my wrap up.
That's smart. And
then sometimes by the time I go to review it on Goodreads or film my wrap up, I'll be like, do I want to give it 2 or 1? Or do I want to give it 3 or 4? I'm not sure.
It is hard. And also it's hard too, because I feel like I've read so many thrillers, because that's primarily what I read, like thrillers and horrors, but more so thrillers. And I'm wondering if a lot of like my 5-star thrillers in the past, I wouldn't have liked as much now. So I'm like, it's really hard to know how to rate books, because I've, you know, when you hear a trope like the first time, you're probably going to love it. Yes. So it's hard now, because I'm like, I've experienced this trope a lot.
I know you have.
Like a lot, because I search out this trope.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a difficult one to just rating. And also at the end of the day, it's not that serious. It's just rating books.
Yes, it's all fun.
I have to remind myself that. Sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, like, should this be a blank? And I'm like, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Like,
look, that's why I don't take review copies, because I just don't want to hurt people's feelings. Like, it's different if I spend my money, I seek it out. But if I feel like you sent it to me, I just feel I've done it, I think, twice. And I just did not, I felt bad if I didn't enjoy it. So I was like, I can't do this.
Right.
So it's hard for me. But when I spent my own money, say what I want to say.
That is a really good point.
I spent money on this book.
Yeah, did you get a hardback or paper?
I did the Kindle, but I paid the full price. I spent money.
So. Yeah, the Kindle sometimes is like really, it's like $1, but this was like full price.
Oh, I paid the full $15.
Oh
no. So
oh my gosh. I'm trying to look at my notes and see if there's anything else I wanted to talk about. I feel like we covered most things.
Yeah, let me see.
I think this is, most of. Did you have, I know that you didn't like any of the POVs, but if you had to choose a POV, what would be your favorite?
Of a character?
Yeah, of a character, I would say.
I'd say Henry was not the most interesting, but I felt like his were the most, his were well written. I liked the way she wrote his chapters. Like, I actually was starting to care about him. I feel like I got to know him a little bit more, as I said, than anybody else.
Right, I agree.
It just took away from the cabin. But if it was just a book about him and the cop and his half siblings, I probably would have liked it much more.
And it felt more realistic.
Yes, but getting thrown around from him to the cabin to breaking into Trina, I was like, okay, his chapters were a little bit longer too. So sometimes I was like, okay, Henry, let's get back to the cabin, or where are we going with this? But I did like the way she wrote his chapters.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say him, and then I guess Hannah.
Yeah, see, I liked Hannah's the most because I felt like we got most of the present chapters from Hannah.
Yes.
But I didn't like hers the most because I liked her as a character the most. Yeah. I think if I had to choose, I would choose Henry as who I liked the most. Even though I didn't love Henry, I just, like you said, I felt like he actually felt like a real person, whereas the other ones felt more like caricatures a little bit, like the tropes, that are in a lot of thrillers. I actually didn't like reading Henry's chapters. Yeah, I agree. I mean,
I get it. Yeah,
I feel the same. I wanted 2 books. I think if it was 2 books, it would have been perfect.
Yes, 2 separate ones, and I would have chose the Henry book.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. I would have liked the cabin book if it was separate, and we focused more on, like you said, atmosphere And if there was a murder in the cabin, like Lisa got murdered and who did it, that would have been better.
Yeah, I agree. Well, thank you so much for reading with me.
It was my pleasure.
I'm so sorry you didn't end up liking the book, but
I mean, I still had fun. Look, even when I'm fussing at a book and I'm just like, oh my God, I can't, it's still fun. I still enjoy it.
Yeah.
I still had an experience.
Sometimes it's even like more fun discussing books that you have like problems with, because then it's like you get to talk about everything that you're thinking, like, why did this happen, sometimes it makes it more interesting. I would rather love a book or like really not like it than just feel indifferent. 100%. And so I'm also really glad I read this, because I've been really curious about this book, because it sounded super up my alley. I was like, this could be a potential new favorite. So I'm glad I know. And are you going to not read anything from this author again, do you think?
The funny thing is, I loved her novella, Sleep Tight Motel. I put it in my Halloween horror book recommendations video. So that was another reason I couldn't wait to read this, because I loved that. That was a mixture of horror and thriller, and I thought it was so well done. It was a novella, so maybe it was because it was short and we focused on one person.
I'll have to check that out, especially because I'm trying to hit my goal.
Yes, it's a quick read. It's like I said, I had fun with it. There was a mystery there. I liked what we got. And I did not read her other one, Confessions on the 345 or some train. I forget.
Yes.
But this does not make me want to read that, I will say.
Right. I have one on my shelf. It says Last Girl Ghosted.
Okay.
I'm kind of interested in that one. Like, I don't think I'm going to totally write this author.
Yeah.
It's hard for me because some of my favorite books have been from authors that I read their next book and I hate it. Like that happened with Lucy Foley. I really did not like The Paris Apartment at all.
DNF.
I adored The Guest List. And then The Hunting Party was middle of the road.
Yeah, I've heard that.
It was just like, I just never know, So I'm definitely going to, oh no. Ashley says Confession on the 745.
Okay. And this I know that one deals with infidelity and stuff, and what we got in this, I was like,
right.
This just further confirmed for me that domestic thrillers was just not for me. I just don't care about drama with couples and families, and also I don't even know if I like multiple POVs anymore, because this just was too much. I like to get with one character and settle in with them and really get to know them and feel for them, so that when stuff happens, I care.
Yeah.
I'm invested.
Yeah.
Like with the maid, I didn't want nothing to happen to Molly. I was ready to hurt somebody, not my Molly.
I loved the maid.
I know. So it was, people say it was a cozy mystery, but I really got to know her and care about her. And that's what I like. I didn't necessarily need a twist and all that, because I just really liked her.
Right.
Being with her.
It was a cozy mystery, but like the twist was, I liked the twist.
I liked what we got. I was happy with it. But like I said, if we get multiple POVs, I think I need the atmosphere to keep me going. And I don't know if it was the setting too. We stayed in this cabin.
Yeah, that makes sense. I will give authors a second chance a lot, but if I really dislike the author's style like this one, I won't bother. Yes. That's so interesting that you said you like the novella style.
But once again, it was short, and we focused on one character.
What is it called again?
Sleep Tight Motel.
Sleep Tight Motel.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to write this down.
Yeah, in that one, we're following a woman where she's on the run from an abusive partner. And she stops at this motel that's isolated. She stays there, but there's some weird things going on in the motel, and she doesn't know she hears some noises in the room next door, and it's like, what's going on with this motel? That's all I could say, because like I said, this novella is short.
Yeah. And did you listen on audio or did you read it?
No, I read it physically. And like I said, I just was looking on Kindle Unlimited. Sometimes, like you, I'm looking to get some numbers. And I'm like, what's on here? And it's in part of the Dark Corners collection. So I think I was looking through the books in that collection, and I read the synopsis. And I'm like, I'll check it out. And I didn't even know there was some Halloween stuff in there. I really enjoyed that, which made me look forward to this. But again, it was just totally different. So
Yeah.
I can't necessarily say when it comes to this author anymore because I only have those two examples.
I know. Now I'm relieved I didn't buy it because I almost bought.
Yes, like me.
Almost physically bought it. I know. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's done.
It happened.
Yeah, once I spend the money, it's done. I don't worry about it.
That is, I mean, how can you with books? It's like,
yeah, if I read the whole thing, I'm fine. If I DNF it, I sometimes want my money back.
I also feel like can you return Kindle books if you don't fully read them?
I think you can, but it has to be like you can't really get too far into it. I think you can only read like maybe a little bit and then you can do it. I think I've done it before.
That's good. That's good to know.
Yeah, but
I will give authors a second chance a lot, but if I really dislike the author style like this one, I won't. Yeah, that makes sense. No, I have Confessions on the 745 on my Kindle, but I haven't read it. It was like a Kindle daily read. Gotcha.
Well, now you need to read it and let us know.
Yeah, you can let us know. I feel like, yeah, that's a good setting, a train.
Yeah, I think with that one, it's that these two women meet on the train, and I think they both complain about their spouses, like being jerks and cheating. And then when they go back to their lives, one of their husbands turns up dead or his mistress or something. So then it's like, who did it or whatever. I think. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's what I remember.
Yeah. Okay. It sounds like a plot this author would choose. Like very domestic story. Yeah.
It also reminds me of what's the one? God, I can't think of the one that everybody loves.
Time Worth Killing?
Yes, that's what it sounds like. So I was kind of like, I just don't think that's my trope. I like Locked Room, which we didn't get here.
I know. You know, a lot of books are marketed as Locked Room and they're not.
Yes.
It's very odd to me.
And I keep falling for it.
I know. I'm like, come on, we need to know if it's actually a locked room.
Yes. What will I learn?
I know. Well, thank you so much again for being a co-host.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
It was so much fun. And I love hearing your thoughts. Ooh, also, what does it say? Basically, a Strangers on the Train retelling. Yeah.
Yes, which I have on my list to read.
Yes. I don't generally like domestic thrillers. I like Closed Circle, but I didn't like Daisy Darker, but I like this one.
Okay. So that tells me not to read Daisy Darker.
Daisy Darker, I thought I would go back to it, and I just won't. I've decided I'm just going to probably spoil the end for myself because I am curious. And then I'll be like, yep, I'm glad I didn't read it.
I know. I do that. I go look them up and be like, yep, glad I DNF'd.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to end the live, but make sure you subscribe to Nakia if you haven't already. And I will talk to you all very soon. Bye.
Thank you.